Let us start this off. Three, two, one. Well, actually, three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brewmaster's Draft, a show where we talk a little bit about Dota and a little bit about beer. I will be your host, Flubb, and as always, I am joined with my co-host and good friend, Kimbrell. Kimbrell, how you doing today, man?
Hey everyone, hey Flubb, doing well. Doing well. It is Friday. It has been a long, long day. I stayed up late last night. I stayed home yesterday, right? Took the day off. I was like, I'll go in Saturday. Megan's got to work Saturday. I'll go in Saturday. I'll work a few hours. I'll make up for it. So we slept in until like, I don't know, like 10. And so last night, I was just like, I'm not tired. And I was up till about 3, and I got up at 7:30. So not only was I exhausted today, it just there's so much stuff going on at work, so many different things that I'm learning and things like that. It's just and then as I've mentioned before, I work with people with mental disabilities, so there was like so many behaviors today. It's like they knew it was Friday, and they just like are like bouncing off the walls, and I don't know. It's been a long day. However, I have beer, so I am fine now.
That is the beauty about this show now. You know, we having it on Fridays is pretty nice. Instead of you end the week correctly, you end it with a beer. So
Absolutely. How are you doing?
pretty good, pretty good. I have been working on Dota and things like that. We've been kind of going back and forth. The whole like Terraria server channel thing's been pretty fun. Getting people
Yeah.
in playing that. Also Vermintide. We've been playing quite a bit of that as well.
Yeah, I need to play some more of that. I saw some messages in our Discord today. It's like, man, okay, we need to start playing that more. um, but I did start Crash Bandicoot. That is something that we're gonna put up. I'm gonna put up on the YouTube channel. I didn't get to stream the first little bit of it. I might go back and actually start it over because Megan and I swapped back and forth, and then I got to a part where I just like raged out of my mind because like if I like remembering back to when I was younger, those games were hard. Like after it was just difficult, but eventually like I beat it and it was rewarding and everything. And I was playing it yesterday and I was like, this game's fucking easy. Pardon my language, but what the hell? Like what happened? And then 6 levels later, I'm just like, oh my God. And it was this one part on the same level I could not get past. And then like you get game over, so you start the level over, and I'm starting to die like on places before that part because I'm so tilted. Oh, dude. So it's I'm gonna restart it, and when I get to that part, it's gonna be like amazing content to watch because I'm gonna be so tilted the entire time. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be posted on the YouTube. I just want to announce that I'm gonna do some older games, and I thought Crash would be a pretty good game to start with since they just came out with the revamped version and all that stuff, and then it's an somewhat older game. I played it during my childhood, and I know some of our viewers are around my age, so.
Yeah, for sure. I got interested after you were kind of telling me a little bit about it. I never played the original Crash Bandicoot, but there was like such a big backlash online about it being like the hardest game ever, and people were like, "Oh man, this is so hard." It's actually really funny that you say that it's so easy at that part, and like the everybody was just saying it was so tough, and it's because the graphics are better and the understanding of the actual hitbox is a
Yes.
more of an oval now than it is a box, and I thought that was so interesting. You know, as a gamer, you realize those things, but I realize those things in Dota. Like, okay, hitboxes are this big. This is where I can cast spells, things like that. But in a platformer, I never really took that into account because it's like, okay, I got to jump on this thing. I got to move around, and
Yeah.
that's probably why I'm so sucky at them, honestly.
I
Um,
mean, I remember in the older games landing on something because for some reason the dumb thing can't swim. So like if you're landing on like this moving piece in the water or whatever, predicting your landing spot was pretty hard in the older games, and it's still hard in the newer games. And I thought that was interesting how they're still able to get that feel, but it also does feel harder versus like the little creatures that are throughout the game because of the hitboxes. I was actually said the word hitbox yesterday, Megan. She looked at me like, what? What are you talking about? I was like, I'm telling you, they changed something. Because there's like, they're 2 little turtles and they're bouncing back and forth on each other. And I hit one, I'm like, all right, good. And when I hit that one, somehow the other one hits me and I die. And I'm just like, I don't understand. And I was like near throwing the controller. And she's like, I think it's time to put it away. I think so too.
That sounds like perfect streaming content. I'm gonna be excited then. This sounds great. Well, besides that though, is there anything else in this week that you've been up to? I've been doing a lot of Dota stuff personally. I don't know if you have. What have you been up to Dota wise, Kimbrell?
If you follow my account or the Devils account, you'll see that the Devils are the previous .p Devils. We just rebranded it to ZPS Devils. I mean, I just felt like it fit more since I am with this, whatever. Anyway, yeah, we're back as a team. It's the exact same crew as last time. I mean, we had a bunch of different players come in and out, and then we finally settled on a team for a good season or two and had some good results. And then I think our last season that we played, we didn't have the results we wanted because at the end we had one guy in school and work, another guy in school and work, the other guy, I was busy wedding planning, and AG was buying a house or something, and everybody was wrapped up in something. And I think our last game in playoffs, we were missing two guys and we had stand-ins, and it just didn't end the way we wanted it to. So we're all really excited. I'm switching. The only change up is I'm switching to offlane while Dreadbeats, Turtle Berserker, Five Eyes, whatever his name is of the week. He always changes it like every other week or so. He's playing the 4 position. So there's a little switch up if you're familiar with the team at all. But yeah, I found it pretty exciting. I'm excited to play organized Dota again, and we're playing in the 82L League and the 4K League. Yeah, it's exciting to be able to captain again, and I don't necessarily have as much say in the early game. I'm not talking as much as I used to, but I still draft and everything, and it's a lot of fun to be able to draft like that.
Oh, okay. So you're not the shot caller anymore. You're just the drafter.
Not necessarily. I'll mention things here and there, but most of the part, it seems like so far chemistry wise, the early game, the best thing for us is for Ian, his name Dreadbeats or whatever you want to call him. I just call him Ian, but anyway, for him to kind of call hey, we're going to go do this, we're going to do that, and take care of this. But by the 20-minute mark, it's kind of like a consensus. It's between all of us, what we should do. And if there's an argument, then if it's one person versus the rest of us, and we'll be okay, well, sorry, but I mean, we understand what you're saying, but we're going to go ahead and go on with this and all that. And it sounds complex where you're trying to break it down and all that stuff, but it's in a matter of seconds where we're okay, no, we're going to go do this. And oh, we need to go do Roche. And, well, we should push that tier 2. And it's oh, well, they'll be up to defend it. And so we should just take advantage. And oh, okay. And then we'll just go do that, So, but yeah, I don't call as many shots as I used to for sure, but I do still draft, which is going to help out with this show, I think.
Yeah, but there's what's really interesting about that, Kimbrell, is a lot of times the shot caller is the drafter, and that's just because you know what you're expecting to draft with. So does Dread kind of co-draft with you, or is it a whole team effort? Or
the way we draft is typically I'll know what I want to play, and I'll know our 2 supports going into a game, but then I'll let Kyra and AG kind of decide what they want. And sometimes I'll let Ian or Dreadbeats decide if he feels hey, there's a Tinker mid and I could probably gank that hero with this hero and have a lot of success. So it's a team effort overall, but I have the final say pretty much. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
And I asked Dreadbeats if he would like to draft it. He's just not that interested into it, and he's talking about I don't even know what all's fully in meta right now and everything like that. And,
yeah.
So we just kind of stuck with me drafting.
That makes sense. It's still good to keep that up, and obviously you're doing the show, so we talk about drafting every week. So
yeah, absolutely. I can steal some of your drafts and some of my drafts that I come up with.
Yeah, for sure. So what's been interesting for me lately in Dota is I was up actually once again. There's always a breaking point for me whenever I'm playing MMR, and I got back up to 5144. So I almost broke that 150 mark, and that's such an achievement for me whenever I can do that. But I went right back down to 509 something. But like I've been back and forth there, so I'm still above 5K, and I still hold that title, so still feel good about that. You gotta feel good about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, the thing is, though, I've also yesterday. You were in the chat as well, and it was a lot of fun. Me and Fafnir did a cast yesterday about what was it? It was Dot P Dire Straits versus Lemon Lemon Snow Cones. Thank you.
Lemon flavored snow cones or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a good matchup. It was a lot of fun. We did a best of 5 for them, and it was 3-1 ended up, and it was a really good play by Lemon Snow Cones, and it's a real big pleasure for me to do casting, but doing finals is something special because you get to see the drafters really put to their test, because best of 3 is a good telling to see what's going on, but it's not innate in the counterplay, because after you see their draft like in 2 games, then you can kind of, if you can get to the best of 3 situation where you can win the second game or the first game, you can understand their drafting at that point. When at best of 5, you are guaranteed 2 games, so you understand their drafting style at that point, and then it's a real play from there, and that's a lot of fun to cast. So I was super happy about that.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I wasn't sure how that matchup was going to go because I played with, I think, 2 of the guys on the Dire Straits just in pub games. And I know Tar. He's actually from Oklahoma. I don't know him personally. Like, I haven't met him in person. But he and I played so much CSGO and Dota together recently, like within the last year, that I know him pretty well. And he was the Lemon Snowcone's captain.
He was a very strong player.
But yeah, and the first game, I think it was the first game that the Dire Straits won. And I was just like, damn, okay, I see you. Like,
yeah,
I really didn't, because I knew that their team was actually, the Lemon Snowcones were pretty good. And I think it all boils down to they've been playing together for a long ass time. Like, since the Devils started, before they were even Dot P Devils or whatever, since my team started, I'm pretty sure Tar's team was there. And that's a good 10 seasons of 82L that they've been playing. And they've just recently started winning a decent amount. So it was really cool to watch that. During game 1 and 2 and part of 3, I was playing some pubs with the lineup or whatever, with the Devils or whatever, and we won both of our games. I doubled down both of them too, so I won a good 104 MMR, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a very good day. 104 MMR. That brings a smile to your face immediately.
Yes, very much. I mean, even though it's only party MMR, it's still like I don't know. It's nice.
It's still a 4-game win streak, pretty much, in the span of two games, which depends on how fast they were. It's some of the reason why Dota can feel like such a big deal when you get those mile markers is like, that's 4 hours I just like saved, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh man, but that's a whole other thing. We're getting a little too far off topic at this point. It's been fun though to catch up with everything. Let's start talking about beers. So, Kimbrell, what are you drinking today?
All right, so it's my go-to. It's just a Shiner. As I mentioned earlier, I had a long day at work. Sitting on my desk doing some paperwork. I looked at the clock and I was like, all right, I got to go do this. I'm returning these papers. And then I noticed what time it was. And I was like, I got a 30-minute drive home. The show starts in 50 minutes. Awesome. I'm leaving right now. Like, I went and took the papers that I needed to and then immediately left. So I didn't have time to stop by the liquor store or anything. So I came home and I have plenty of Shiner in my fridge still left over from the wedding. So why not? So the way I look at it is we don't always need to have a new beer. As long as we have a beer on the Friday, ending the week in a beer, I think it's good. I think we're good to go. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
What do you drink?
I think this is new. It's getting to the point you realize this is our 20th episode. Yeah. So I've been trying to do a new beer every time, and I'm like, man, did I drink this? Because I know I've had this before, and I don't know if it's like I had it 3 years ago randomly, or if it was like I had it, in the past couple months when we were doing the show. And I'm like, man, what when was it? But I'm drinking Point beer. It's just a Point lager, special lager. It's brewed out in Wisconsin, so it's actually my dad's favorite beer. And I had bought a bunch of these to do for the show, and a couple friends of mine drank most of them, so I'm actually only drinking one right now, sadly. And I had a different beer, Yum Yum, which I drank. I've had it on the show before,
Yeah, I
so I'm
remember
gonna have
one.
that. Yeah, you remember that one? Yeah, it's because it's a good name, Yum Yum. That's a pretty random name. So I'm gonna be drinking on that on second, but I'm drinking the lager first, and that's the one I'll be rating today. So, all right, we're gonna be jumping into the draft here. So I'm gonna switch it over to versus. Oh, nope, it's going over to the other. What's going over to the other one? Can I exit out that? Okay, there we go. For some reason that wasn't working correctly. Um, okay. Then we will do Flubb. And do you have the room already?
I do not.
Okay, I will create.
We got 2 new Twitch followers today, by the way. By the way, my phone just notified me. Motar and Toffees. I mean, of course, Toffees. But yeah, thank you.
Motar and Toffees, nice. 6003. Yeah, Motar followed me the other day too. It's good feeling. It's good feeling.
Okay, join. All right. Slowly connecting. There we go. Okay.
Alrighty. So for this draft, I'm gonna hit ready, and then we'll see who gets what at this point.
Okay. What side do you want?
Actually, this week I have a couple drafts ready for you. So you pick the side, feel comfortable. I got this all planned out.
All right. I'm gonna pick Dire. Devils are a Dire team for I don't know why, but some reason.
Hmm.
So I'll just pick that because I'm used to it.
All right. All right. I'll pick Radiant, and I'll pick first. That's my favorite. I love picking Radiant and picking first. That's my favorite combination. So.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like it's a typical I don't know. Anyway, go on.
Alright, so if you had seen the tweets earlier, I said I had a surprise for Kimbrell. I've been looking back at our old drafts, and I've been noticing a certain pattern that Kimbrell's been doing, so I'm going to throw a wrench in his works today, live on air. I didn't warn him about this at all. I'm going to ban Jakiro, because he picks Jakiro all the time, and
Okay.
I'm not going to let that through. So I'm going to try to ban out all the things he likes to pick, and see what he does with this.
Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna return with the Pugna band just because I know you like that hero, and
You jerk.
yeah, that's about it.
Oh, you jerk. I was actually wanting to pick Pugna today. Ah, you got me. Alright, well, I'll return the favor, and I'm gonna ban out the Legion Commander. She's really good, and she's actually there's a reason why I'm banning her out, because she has a lot of good potential in what Kimbrell likes in an offlane, so we'll see what he does.
Hmm. I'm just gonna ban Earthshaker. I think I've mentioned this last week and any other time we've banned him. Is Fissure's such a good spell. That hero has so much capability, especially once he gets Blink. He can change a game, any team fight. So just get him out of there. He's pretty decent off lane too. Go to the jungle and all that stuff. So
It's
just
true.
get him out of there.
First off, I'm going to start with a interesting pick. I don't know if Kimbrell's going to see this coming. I'm going to pick Naga. And I don't want to reveal too much about this pick yet. I'm going to let him kind of stew in it, and I'll talk about it at the end of the draft.
Okay. Huh. All right. I'm gonna start off with See, part of me wants to get an off lane that would be like a pipe builder to help versus like a Radiant Sith Naga if it's a Naga carry. But you first picked it, so it might be a support. And I have 2 picks here, so this is going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, I'm going to go with Sand King. I feel like he's pretty good against melee. Caustic Finale is always good versus any illusion heroes. Now, I know his Ags doesn't... Did they change that where his Ags doesn't affect illusions anymore? With the Caustic Finale or whatever?
Right, it just affects creeps and heroes.
Okay.
But it's still explosive AoE damage.
Yeah, so that's always good. And his stun, I honestly, like, and this is probably obvious, but I feel like his stun is his best skill. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, Epicenter, but honestly, I pick him mainly for his stun. It's such a good spell.
It is. Fantastic initiation tool.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to pick a Puck.
Okay.
Got a little team fight, got some creep clear. Got some magic damage to clear some illusions. So.
It's true. That's true. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pick it up now. So I'm going to pick up a Rubick because it is a very strong support at this point, and Kimbrell has a lot of team fight right now. And who's the best way to stop it? Steal their team fight. And use it back in his face.
Rubick's always a solid, I feel like he's always solid. Unless the other team has, like, no spells to steal from, you can always do something with Rubick. Okay. So we're banning.
So, Kimbrell's first ban here. Second phase.
Man. Naga, Rubick, you got pretty good fun. Ban Bloodseeker.
Ban Bloodseeker. Okay. Okay. Gotta think back. I was all ready for this. I didn't want to have notes. I didn't want to cheat and have like a Kimbrell cheat sheet on the side. I gotta think back. What's some Kimbrell picks here? Kimbrell really likes Venge. I'm gonna get her out of the equation just because it has a saving mechanism, and I don't want to actually have a style of right click because he has a lot of magic right now. So let's get out some good right click.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and ban Stealer.
I was thinking you were gonna go Life Stealer with all that initiation.
Yeah. I got a different carry in mind. I just didn't want to deal with a Life Stealer with a lineup I have in mind. Obviously, you can change with your picks, but we'll see.
Okay. Alright, so if he's doing Life Stealer, Alchemist could be a concern, because he has a lot of guys that really benefit from the Ags. He also has banned out just Life Stealer. There's still plenty on the map that can counter that hero, though. Life Stealer. Okay. So I'm actually going to ban out Silencer, because I was actually hoping that he would ban out Silencer. But he didn't fall for it, and I need to get him out of there.
Okay, I'm gonna add more to my team fight. I'm gonna pick up a Warlock. I feel like it's another hero. Pretty good at getting rid of illusions. Also, just the team fight potential I have there is really good. Obviously, Rubick can steal his ult. Hopefully, he's comboing correctly and ulting and then using. I mean, you want to use the bonds first and then ult, but if you have to, especially versus like a Rubick and you catch him in that, or you could just bonds ult and then use your heal on somebody or something. It's fine, but you don't want to give Rubick that crazy AoE stun with that ult.
It's true. It's true. Okay. I like the pickup now, and I don't think saving it is really going to hurt anything at this point. I'm actually going to pick up a Gyro. I have to keep this draft really tight-lipped because I don't want Kimbrell to figure it out, because there's some ways that he could still totally destroy me.
Huh. I'm not sure. Let's see, a Gyro, a Rubick, a Naga. Can I pass and make you pick it again? um, I'm gonna pick Tiny. That's just a hero I haven't seen in a while. I'm curious how he would do versus the Gyro. I feel like if he gets a good jump on him, along with the other team fight, Gyro just kind of dies. I'm really curious what your next picks are gonna be.
Well, Tiny does throw a wrench into the plan, but he's gonna see what I'm doing eventually at this point, since I have first pick. And honestly, this is probably the best thing I can do. It's part of the plan already, so I'm just gonna pick it.
Yeah, okay. That was my next ban. Like I was full on expecting it with I saw the Naga and you were like talking about setup and all that stuff. I was like, Naga Gyro. He's gonna need some more. The classic Naga freaking Enigma. Okay. Alright. So I think we do okay versus it. Now, because you can just save the golem until black hole and it interrupts it no matter what. So you need I don't know what you need. You need another support, I think, unless that's a Naga support. Ugh. Ugh. A ban Crystal Maiden. I feel like she would have been food for Tiny, so that probably wasn't a great ban, but it just adds to the team fight that you have and setup. She can just start ulting while the Naga's ulting and let it go. Let it go. Anyway, Naga can let go of the song and it just does a crap ton of damage. So
It's true. It's true. I'm actually going to. I'm gonna ban out Nyx, because that's gonna be a problem whether he runs it as a support or an off lane, because he could actually have Sand King as a support, and it could offer a real big problem there. You could mix it up a little bit, so just get out the common hero that's good at ganking these intelligence. Well, this intelligence hero that's very, very, very weak versus it.
yeah, 8 seconds.
Uh,
2, 1.
Invoker.
Oh, man. Okay. Invoker mid. Okay. Huh. Winter Wyvern's going to be my last pick. I feel like it helps with my setup. It also interrupts Black Hole. It's another way to interrupt it. Also, your Gyro is going to be hitting for quite a bit. And so if I just target the Enigma or any of the other the supports or anything, they're just going to die, I think. So, yeah.
Yep. It's true.
Right.
It's true.
So lanes. I'm Dire, so top would be safe lane.
Do you want to? I'm going to announce the the picks real quick so we can give a run through for those who are listening.
Yeah.
I picked my lineup is on Radiant, and we have Naga, Rubick, Gyro, Enigma, and Invoker. And Kimbrell's draft is on the Dire, and he has picked up Sand King, Puck, Warlock, Tiny, and Winter Wyvern. So you guys can kind of figure that out. We're gonna switch. We're gonna figure out what lanes are gonna be at this point, and kind of go from there. And I am all validated. Okay. I think we both thought, well, wait, what? Okay. All right. All right. I actually didn't think that was the exact plan, but it's fine. It works for me. I don't think it'll scare me too much. So, how we have it laid out here is that I would have the Naga roaming kind of in the safe lane as well, but I put her as a roamer for a specific reason. We have Rubick being in the safe lane with Gyro, and Enigma off lane with a Invoker mid. And on the other side of the coin, we have a safe lane Tiny on Kimbrell's team with a Winter Wyvern support. We also have the Sand King and Warlock going off lane, and we have the Puck going mid. So, Kimbrell, do you want to run through your draft and the reasons why you're going to kick my butt real quick?
Sure. I decided that you would probably be roaming the Naga or tri-laning. So I thought I would secure Sand King some farm. I feel like he needs a blink pretty desperately. So I put the Warlock there. Warlock's heal is super good. It's also really good to harass, especially by level 2. And I'm just imagining a scenario where we are pushing down the lane with a Caustic Finale, and he's constantly healing up Sand King or putting harass on the Gyro or the Rubick with the stun and everything else. Also, he has the Fatal Bonds with the stun and the Caustic Finale. I just feel like that's a lane that could be very well dominate, especially versus 2 heroes. Now, those heroes are ranged, so it might be a little different, especially with Rubick Lift. But I feel like it's a pretty solid lane. And then I was wanting to maybe consider. Originally, I was considering putting Puck off lane. I was like, I'm just going to pick this. But I felt like the Puck and Sand King were both versatile picks. I felt like the Sand King can go off lane or support, and the Puck can go mid or off lane. So I felt like that was pretty good. And I originally wanted him to go off lane and then put Tiny mid. But with the Invoker, I kind of decided I was going to put the Puck mid and deal with the Invoker. He can orb out if he gets cold snapped or anything like that. And he can also, if he has to get an early level in the phase shift, where he disappears from the map. Is that what it is?
Yeah, phase
I
shift.
think so. Yeah. If he has to get, it sucks getting an early point in it. There's been games where I've had to against like a Spirit Breaker or a Pudge or something like that, just to dodge things. If you have to do that, so you can do that in Orb and get away from a Naga net and the Invoker Cold Snap or something like that, it's not terrible. And then I felt like Tiny Wyvern. One Wyvern has pretty good harass in lane, especially with their ice shards. And if for some reason, like ice shards and Tiny should be able to just kill Enigma's Eidolons, so he's gonna have to go to the jungle if he doesn't want to feed out those Eidolons. I think, and at least in my bracket. Now, I'm sure in higher brackets and in pro games, people are better at microing those Eidolons and dealing with harassment and things like that. But I do feel like with the slow and the tiny toss, he could toss back towards like the tower or towards Wyvern or something like that, and stun and everything. I feel like Rubick kind of has a hard time in that lane, and he's not able to do a whole lot versus those two. So I feel like Tiny's able to get what he needs to be able to start just moving around the map and dominating early and killing that Gyro and killing that Invoker. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So my reasoning behind why I would do this draft and why I think I can beat Kimbrell is that Naga, a lot of people didn't realize this, but in the last mini patch that happened, her regen went up a whole percent. And that doesn't, not a whole percent, a whole point. And having one extra regen going up from 0.5 to 1.5 doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is a massive jump for the hero. It's improving it by so much, and she has a better chance of really zoning out because of that. So you can't really harass her out as easily. She's very commonly can build a shield to be able to kind of stave off the resistance. She can even build a poor man's shield pretty easily. So a decent kind of way that you can build her in the very beginning is similar to how the Monkey King used to work before, where she just pressures people out of lane. She has the PMS to be able to just tank out the last hits, and uses her minus armor to do a lot of damage. It's a big AoE, so it's not like you're really lacking in the AoE type situation, especially with all of these heroes that I have. There's plenty of pushback, there's plenty of all that, and the real thing about this draft is it's a farming draft, and it's a farming draft that can get aggressive. And this is why I purposely went down this style of draft, because I want to make use of the illusions that Naga will create. And you don't worry about people canceling out your illusion potential when you're a support. Your illusion potential is about stacking. And I've worked on it before. I'm actually quite good at it. I'm going to probably make a video of it eventually when I get it down near Pat, so that I don't have to do like 5,000 retakes for it. But you can actually stack like 3 camps at once. If you're good at it, you can technically do 5. It's pretty hard to do, though. So you can get a lot of stacked creep camps for your team, give a lot of availability for farm. And who wants farm? Invoker needs farm. He also needs people to stack the jungle, because he's going to be jumping into the jungle just to take out a creep with his Midas. And Gyro is one of the best stack takers in the game right now. He doesn't have a lot going for him, but he does have that. And the only other reason why I picked Invoker in this situation, because I needed someone that could resist some of the harassment that was going to come out mid. Because if you looked at Kimbrell's draft at that point, if he was going to, knowing what Kimbrell likes to go, I was thinking that Sand King was probably going to be the off lane. And the only other person that I thought he could have maybe picked up was Nyx, to be able to consider that as an off lane. So I kind of forced him to go down that path. And Kimbrell, I think I got you now. I think you really like those healing supports, my friend. They seem to really work out for your drafts. So I wanted to try to get someone who is about harass and keeping their health at a better point, especially if you're going with banning out Bloodseeker. If I don't have to worry about keeping my health up with a Bloodseeker, then you're very conscious of that. So that's kind of what I was like going around, was trying to work out a system that I can get all this farm from. And the only other person I considered was actually Alchemist. I thought Alchemist mid with an Invoker could have been a real big problem, but you picked freaking Tiny. And I was like, I think he can burst me. I'm pretty sure he can burst me out.
Yeah.
And especially with maybe having a Puck get good farm with a Veil and dropping Veil as Tiny blinks in and does his combo, I'm pretty sure that's a like super dead Alchemist every time. Not that Invoker's any better, but I do have kind of a superior late game with an Invoker. Alchemist, you definitely have a better late game, but he's very one-dimensional on how he can work. Invoker can go down multiple different paths to fill a niche pick, because you had the last pick. So, also, I needed something to work well with the Enigma ult, because if you take out Gyro, and I had Alchemist instead, he doesn't really offer a lot of blow-up potential within that black hole.
Unless you like spell steal something amazing, there's not a whole lot.
Right, so. Right. Which I can still spell steal some pretty good AoE spells from your team, but it's not a guaranteed team wipe, and that's what you have to have if you're going to have an Enigma. You have to have that threat. So my idea here is to have that roaming potential, but when you bring out Sand King and Warlock as an offlane duo, that puts a lot of pressure on my safe lane. I don't even know if I could do that. So there's kind of a back and forth on our draft at this point. I can see a lot of strengths kind of pushing me out in different faculties, and a lot of the stuff that you said. The Sand King being able to initiate's pretty strong with the Puck, and then you can counter, if I counter your initiate with a Naga Siren ult. That was the plan, is counter initiate with Naga Siren. Black hole, you can still technically have your Warlock way out of the battlefield and not get hit by it and drop down a rock. Though it's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard to execute that. So it's an interesting back and forth. I think I could still get you, because I think I could put you to sleep, and I still have Rubick to go all the way to your back lines while everyone's asleep. Lift the Warlock, so it's technically a black hole that only lasts like 2 seconds, but it should be long enough for Gyro and Invoker, and that's what I was thinking.
Okay, yeah. It requires a lot of coordination, obviously. There's the interesting thing that I realized when I picked it up, but I didn't fully realize the potential is I have 2 BKB piercing lockdowns. So if Enigma got a BKB, I have the Warlock Golems, and I also have the Wyvern ult. Because if you target the BKB target,
you have technically 3, but you can't get through black hole. You can toss people.
That's true. Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, right. That's not gonna help me with the black hole. But one interesting, just kind of on a tangent, just off topic a little bit. One interesting interaction would be Sand King, say he has an Ags, right? And black hole's going on. If Sand King targets his stun past the black hole, like does he get caught, or does it go through, and does he stun it?
If it goes past, then no, he doesn't get stunned.
Okay. Huh. Anyway.
But by that point, I should have a BKB.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty tight draft. Like, there's a lot of work to make sure that you've got everyone in black hole. If you don't get a 5-man and one of the 2 supports are not in black hole, then the fight it's completely different. And then you have to decide, do we want to use the Naga ult to help us set up, or do we want to use the Naga ult for when Wyvern ults or the Warlock ults to interrupt black hole, and then we got to pop it and then escape or something like that. So it's just your Naga player is going to have to like decide on that, or the captain's going to have to decide when to use that sleep, because it could either win you a fight or it could lose you a fight very much with the black hole and then the 2 piercing BKB piercing things.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It can definitely lose you a fight, but the thing is you can have black hole still going, and as long as they continue to use black hole, if you mess it up a little bit, you can just drop it immediately, and then they're still in black hole. It's a lesser black hole, but it's still something. There is a lot of communication when you have a Naga. You have to have a good communication crew. But we're assuming that since we're playing on a team, I would assume they have decent communication at this point, and I'm hoping my team has decent communication. Let me put it that way. I guess the real thing about this draft that I see, Kimbrell, is how well would your team contest my team's stacks? Because you can contest it pretty well with your AoE, but would that be your focus? Like, where's your focus gonna be? Because you can only do so many things in a match, and contesting my stacks would be a very deadly thing. But Gyro is able to be pretty aggressive early, and like I still have a pretty solid early game. It's not that bad. Well, Rubick's pretty good. Once he hits his level 6, he kind of jumps above any other support. You have Enigma Black Hole, you have Gyro, you have Naga. Naga's actually pretty good in the very beginning as a support. There's a reason why she was really popular in TI3. And Invoker's the weakest guy ever in the beginning, but hopefully the other 3 will keep you at bay, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I think smoke ganks definitely win me the game. Smoke ganks taking if I smoke and kill your Gyro and your Enigma, your Gyro, like 2 or 3 of your heroes, and then I just take your stacks with Tiny and Wyvern helping or something like that, then it definitely hurts you quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So smoke ganks would definitely help, especially once each of my heroes are level 6. Like you're gonna need, Sand King is the one that you just don't need level 6 on, but I think in order to contest and rotate and gank, because you're going to get TPs in to try to save your Gyro or something like that. I think to contest all of the rotations, you're going to need the ult from the Wyvern and the Warlock, and definitely level 8 or 8 to 10 on Tiny and Puck. So
it's kind of what you're talking about with Naga can be the same thing for Winter Wyvern. Sometimes people blow their spells when a Winter Wyvern ults. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of both of us. It's funny, both of us have these drafts that it's like, oh, if you ult at the wrong time, you will screw your team over.
Yeah, that's a big reason. When was it? Was it I don't remember the Boston major or the Kiev major. I don't remember which major it was, or if it even was a major, but a lot of people were picking Naga Faceless together. Mm-hmm. Or not Naga, Wyvern Faceless together. And it was like, I think I saw it, and they're pros, and it's always going to happen. But I think I saw a Wyvern ult completely mess up a team fight because they didn't communicate fully, and Wyvern ulted while Faceless jumped and chronoed and had everything queued ready to go. And so he's just sitting there like, I can't hit anyone because you're an idiot. And they can't hit anyone because they're chrono. And so I just find that interesting how team fights can get completely screwed up like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Looking at... I kind of saw this the other day. I don't know if you know this. I kind of just a random thought that popped into my head. I was playing versus a Visage, and someone on my team picked up a Winter Wyvern versus it. That is an incredible counter to him. I did not realize how amazing that is. Yeah. And wow, I am just super shocked.
I think it was. This is kind of on that topic. Another item, an item on Wyvern that I like picking up is just getting the. You don't have to necessarily go Solar Crest, but getting that medallion and using it on the person that's targeted, they're just gonna die. I think it was Ursinity that liked picking up Slardar Wyvern together, because that Slardar would just ult the person that Wyvern's ulting, and it's just that person's just melting because they have no armor.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's similar with like the if you were to just have a medallion and you alt the Visage, his birds absolutely yeah. I mean everything like that hero just dies. So
Hmm. He is very very strong combination with Slaughter for sure. And it's a good point that you bring in that you can just kind of do a makeshift Slaughter by bringing in that item. The the thing about the hero though is that I feel like the rest of him is kind of just as hard to play. You know, his Q is pretty simple, his W is pretty simple, but if he uses Cold Embrace at the wrong time, sometimes you're
yeah,
thinking, "Oh man,
absolutely.
this is a great play," and other times I'm like, "Oh man, you 100% just killed me."
Yeah, if you have like a gyro chasing you, like and you accidentally use that at the wrong time, and he just gyro uses his rocket barrage and
Ultimate.
his ultimate or something like that hero just dies.
Yep. Yep. So there's it's kind of can be a double-edged sword, and that's actually another reason why I decided to go Invoker. Was I was like, okay, he can't. Well, actually, it wasn't a reason why I decided to go Invoker. It just happened to work out. Is that um, all that magic damage goes through that cold embrace, whereas if I went the alchemist, he kind of needs to go right click now. He's not quite as strong with the radiance. Like he knows radiance, but it's not the end all be all that it once was. So yeah, it's a good back and forth. I like this one. So do you want to talk about your items besides the Winter Wyvern medallion?
Sure, yeah. I mean I feel like they're pretty basic. Like the Sand King, you definitely want to blink. You might consider an Ags.
Now, would you
Uh,
go Ags earlier if you're going to consider it, like on especially versus my team, or are you going to be looking more towards the Aether Lens and Veil type situation, or are you going to have Veil on
Veil
your
would probably
puck?
go on Veil would probably go on Puck.
Okay.
So I think that would allow your Sand King to go just go Ags right after Blink, unless he wants to go Aether Lens. I always when I spam that hero for the longest time, I would go Blink Aether Lens Ags.
Hmm.
But I think you can skip the Aether Lens if you absolutely need to. Uh, Puck, you would go the Blink, Veil, or Veil Blink, whichever order that you feel like. I feel like you have enough lockdown that you can go the Veil first instead of Blink. Um, and then
Now, would you go Veil Blink or would you go Veil Midas Blink?
that's a good point. Midas would be pretty good. Midas is always good on that hero now with the 420 thing.
I would feel like you probably just want to go Blink, honestly, because like you're wanting to contest my farm, and you don't want the Midas to. Because I'm probably gonna get more farm than you, right? With all the
Yeah, I
stacking.
mean, you win the late game. Like unless Wyvern just gets some sick ass ult off and completely, and then
It's
Tiny
true.
is just doing a crap ton of damage or something, and everybody else, you're probably going to win the late game. So we definitely want to win a little earlier. So uh, yeah, I do. It would probably be the Veil then Blink, and then like a Yules or whatever you need after that,
Hmm.
or Dagon to help you just burst down people. Warlock probably going to be the 4 position. I would say. I think an Ags on him would be good. Ags plus your level 15 or level 20 talent, where you get that extra golem on death. That's just crazy. Like how you can get 3 golems in one fight,
Yeah.
and what's crazy to me, and I think I'm curious if they'll nerf it at all, is on his death instead of stunning everybody, it just releases a golem. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this dude died, now he's a golem, instead of hey, this dude died, and here's a golem being dropped on you, like, and stunning everyone.
Mm.
Um, anyway, um, but I think like Glimmer Cape or Force on him, and then an Ags is always good. Uh, you might go Midas on that hero actually to help you, since you don't want to be right up in the fight every fight. I think a Midas could be considered. And if it goes super late, then definitely consider a refresher. I think it would help out the team fight a lot. Uh, Tiny, Tiny's interesting. I'm actually not 100% sure what I would go with Tiny. I think a Blink is definitely. Uh,
Requirement.
I think it's a requirement, but I know that Blink Shadow Blade used to be a build where they would just go both, and I don't know if that's any good right now. I think it would just be Blink and then.
Honestly, I've been seeing a lot of right-click tinies coming out. A lot of people picking up a lot of not urns, but what is it? Drums. A lot of drums being picked up.
I was gonna say Blink. I didn't know if you would go drums. I was gonna say Blink Ags drums is what I was gonna say, but I feel like drums first would probably be better. That way you're able to. I don't know.
Well, you need something to kind of exist in lane. I think that's what drums gives to you as a tiny player. Honestly, we got to bring in Scrunk here because I'm not the tiny expert, but
no, neither am I. But I agree. I agree with you. I think it would be Blink drums, Ags, and then you could go like an AC and crit or something like that if you wanted to. And then the Wyvern being in position 5, you're probably just going to go Glimmer. You might consider an Aether Lens, that way you can stay back in the fights as well. Honestly, you're not going to get much farm. You're going to be the ward. You're going to be the ward bitch, and you're going to try to save people. And when you're trying to save people, you're going to probably die in the process. So, ward, smokes, a Glimmer Cape, maybe a Force Staff or Aether Lens if you can afford them. But yeah, that's what I got from my team. What about items for you?
Real quick though, you wouldn't want to get a. You said Force Staff and Blink for him, or Force Staff Glimmer.
I said Glimmer for Wyvern.
Yeah.
Glimmer and then Force Staff or an Aether Lens, whichever you would consider, and then the Medallion. Okay. So if you really want the Medallion, I don't think the Medallion's absolutely necessary. I just think the interaction's really cool, but it's something to consider because I mean, if you do that. And that person doesn't die from the Wyvern ult, then Tiny can just jump stun once the Wyvern ult ends and then just hit that person. And then
yeah, that's true. So. I also think that the Blink could be a real factor for me. If you could Blink in, kind of use your Warlock to be a little bit more of the sacrificial lamb, have him get a Blink up on the Naga and ult her, and hopefully kill her before I get off my combo. That could actually be really strong too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a couple of plays that you could go around. I really like looking at my idea. I would probably go. I always go Medallion on Naga. It's a great value item. Lowers more armor. Can help you do Roche. It can help you keep your carries more tanky, and that's what you got to have for a Gyro anyway. So. I like that item on her, and I like the build up. So there's a lot of potential there. You have the Rubick as well, able to get a lot of farm and potential there. So you can lay down a lot of wards and things like that. So I think that he would be definitely the ward bitch in that situation. You want to be warding up a lot of different areas. You're going to have to worry about not only invis from the Sand King. If you do go that Shadow Blade, I have to worry about invis from the Tiny as well. So there's a lot of different things going on at that point. The Gyro would probably go for the. He would go Ags. He would definitely go Ags. He would probably go Ags into Maelstrom, Ags, BKB, that type of lineup, and then kind of see where the game goes from there. Probably just get some output of damage and have other people help him stay alive. I would probably have the Rubick if he could. I wouldn't actually have him go for Blink or Force or anything like that. I would probably just give him a Glimmer. And hopefully just mana boots Glimmer and keep people alive and be in the back to steal. Because it's more about using Naga to counter the... Because my entire lineup is to counter-initiate Kimbrell's lineup. And that's the best way to stop... If you don't have a silencer versus team fight, which I wanted him to take away, and that's why I took away myself, because I have a major team fight as well, it's the counter on top of that. So you don't really need the Rubick to be in that position. Kind of the same way, you want your guys to survive. You want Kimbrell to be diving on me. So I would go mech and mana boots and probably get a Midas on Enigma if I could afford it. I have to get a Midas on Invoker, so it's not 100% so. But I would definitely go Mech and Greaves into Pipe, into just give me the auras hero that he is, and hopefully keep everyone alive through it all. Then, of course, we got Invoker at the end. Classic Invoker builds come to mind. I would probably go into Midas, Boots, Ags, get probably TP Boots pretty early because I'm going to need to be able to split push. There's also Blink. I think Blink would be phenomenal on him. It's whenever I get TP Boots, I generally like to see a Blink up on my Invoker. A lot of maneuverability, and when you have your Ags, it kind of just makes your character work. So you don't necessarily need a specific item from that point. You can just get a lot of movement potential, and I really like that combination right there. Maybe go for Octarine. Most likely, I would be going for a BKB again because I probably want a BKB on all of my cores at this point. I know I just said pipe on the who was it on Enigma, but BKB is obviously first, and then hopefully I'll help out my supports later on because that's what Kimbrell's going through right now. He's got a lot of magic damage, so I have to be able to counter that, and that's what I would do for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's good. Thinking about There's one thing about Enigma that I noticed, especially with OG, they'll first pick it and they won't rely on like the Blink, Greaves, BKB type of Enigma. They'll go like the Pinky, drums, pipe, whatever we need type of Enigma. Like, hey, farm all these utility items, and let's go.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of the hero, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I think that brings it to an end, my friend. We're running a little bit long here, but do you have anything else that you want to say before we talk about our beers?
Well, I think we're good.
All right, cool. So I know you've probably rated it like 5 times. Like I don't know. It seems like you've rated it 1 or 2 times, obviously before this. But how do you like your drink, my friend?
It's yeah. I mean, I've given it like 3 or 4, I think now ratings. So, I mean, it's a 5 as usual. It's my go-to. I even have a, a Shinner glass.
Oh,
Uh, get an official opinion. um, so yeah, I mean, a 5 out of 5. That's what I would give it. It's a Shiner. It's never anything less than a 5 for me. So.
all right. So I'm gonna give mine a 4.5. A very good lager, classic, special. Just the special lager. It's it's what you're looking for in a beer. It's what I'm looking for in a beer for sure. Not too sharp, not too hoppy. Just a normal, good taste beer that is not like it doesn't have too big of a punch, but you still feel something. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Wisconsin, go for Point. That's what I gotta say. All right, so all good things must end, and I have to close out the show now, sadly. So if you want, you can help us out by subscribing or liking any of our videos. You can go to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ZombiePandaStudios, to watch any of our videos live, or watch me and Kimbrell streaming our various things. Kimbrell streaming Crash Bandicoot, me streaming random games, whatever you want to watch, you can watch us there. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is Zombie Panda Studios, once again, for all of our content. You can go to our Patreon if you're feeling extra generous to give there, and that is www.patreon.com/ZombiePandaStudios. And there's multiple things that you can go on there. There's coaching tips from me. There's different things that you can interact with in our videos. You can suggest certain things if you give a few dollars here or there. There's also a lot of things that Kimbrell's been offering for different things for, what's the name again? It was too cool for, or
It's
old school cool, or
Old School Cool is what I titled it.
gotcha.
And like I've kind of broke it down earlier. It's basically me playing old school games, any game that you want to see me play, or for instance, I've never played any of the Zelda games. I know that's kind of a sin. Um, but so if there were any games that you would suggest, like Ocarina of Time, I've heard is the first one to start with. So anything like that, I'm more than welcome. I'm more than happy to play those and stream those for anybody. So, and I definitely want to get into some of those games that I missed out in my childhood and my teenage years. So yeah.
All right, cool. So you can find all of that at our Patreon. You can also follow me at my Twitter if you ever want to get up on any of my casting or anything that we go through in general at Flubb Dota. You can also go to Kimbrell at his personal Twitter at skimbrell_, and you can also follow us together at our combined account at ZPanda Studios. If you want to, you can listen to a podcast version instead of watching the VOD at SoundCloud for now, and I'm working on the other ones in the future, so you can either just find us on SoundCloud for now. And I want to give a special shout out to our Patreons that have given us already for this month: Tim Kaninsky, Ryan Ebel, and Justin McGuire. Alright guys, well thank you very much for doing that, and thanks for sitting down and having a beer with us today. It's always great fun to do this show with you guys. And we will catch you on Sunday for the Flubb date, or we will catch you next week for a brand new Brewmaster's Draft. Alright, catch you guys later.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, keeping it open for a little bit, like we always do, to make sure it all records